If you've ever thought, I'm not qualified, I'm just faking it, you are not alone. Let's talk about what that voice really means. Hi, I'm Tracy Peary, an executive director at Hope for the Journey and a licensed clinical social worker. And it's important to know that imposter syndrome isn't a mindset issue. It's often a survival response. What does that mean? Well, if you had to shrink or stay quiet or prove your worth in order to stay safe, your brain starts believing that your worth must be earned constantly, right? So it's just always in this place of not feeling worthy. Now, this can happen from small traumas where something was unresolved and you just started to develop that negative belief, but it also can happen from, critical parents or being in a competitive type situation, either in your home or in your environment, all the way up to really needing to be small and quiet in order to actually stay physically or sexually safe. So there's a wide range here that can all lead to the same place of imposter syndrome. And your nervous system might not feel safe even when your job or whatever it is that you're trying to do is actually safe. Trauma survivors often wait for the other shoe to drop. So even in healthy work environments, it's your brain trying to protect you. So it's not that you're failing, it's just your brain is trying to protect you. So one thing that can be helpful if you notice that this is happening quite a bit for you and you want to get it unstuck is to spend a little bit of time just reflecting on who taught you that being competent meant being perfect. Is there a person or an experience that kind of really brought you into that? It might be something like a parent, a school, toxic workplace, high intensity sports or competitive, whatever. All of these things can lead to you believing that being competent and not being an imposter means I have to be perfect. Once you name where it comes from, the source can help you to loosen its grip a little bit, and can start to unhook this piece of having imposter syndrome being such a big thing for you. Another thing to remember is that confidence doesn't come before action, right? In order for us to feel confident, we actually have to lean into things that make us feel really anxious and nervous. So if you're starting something and you're feeling really anxious or nervous, that's actually part of the gig, right? Like you just got to act. And then afterwards, once you have some successes, that's when the feeling of confidence will come. But you're not an imposter if you just don't feel confident, right? So get in there, get your hands dirty, try it out, learn from it, and see if that feeling of confidence starts to come afterwards. The other thing is that if you start noticing how often you're saying sorry or I just blah, 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 if you're listening to that, that can be a clue that your inner critic is running the show. And if that's the case, that imposter syndrome is going to be really, really heightened. It's also helpful to know that imposter syndrome really thrives in silence. So if you talk about it, it really does kind of help break that shame spiral. So you can, just let somebody like a coworker, your therapist, or even just journaling for yourself. And just talking about that helps to break that silence and helps you to break out of that system. So the other final thing to remember is that if you're doubting yourself, it probably just means that you care, right? It's important to you to do something well. So it's not a sign of thoughtlessness or incompetence. It's really thoughtfulness. And it's really important for you to just know that if you're going to doubt yourself, that can mean something really positive about yourself. So you're not an imposter, you're just a human. right? Growing in spaces that used to feel unsafe, and that is a really powerful thing. You are being brave here. And so, if you treat yourself as somebody that is brave and trying something new and just human and learning, you're going to get through that imposter syndrome and to the other side where confidence lives way faster. All right. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you next time.